Let's continue our hunt for the best trading strategy on YouTube. If you didn't watch my previous video already, I'm currently looking for the easiest, most profitable strategy shared on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel to keep track of all the coming strategies we'll test out, and I have some very good ones coming. Also, don't hesitate to have some suggestions yourself. And as well, I'll use my background as a software engineer with a master's in machine learning to give you tools on what to journal and how to journal those strategies. That way, you can use data and statistics to make them even better and personalized to your own personality. This is what we really focus on in our mentorship. We journal, we backtest, and we get data. Because you need to build your own trading plan with your own little tweaks, or else it might not work for you. And I've seen that happen with many of my students. This is why data and knowing how to professionally journal as a trader is so important. So today we're looking at the work of Casper SMC and his version of the ICT Silver Bullet. There's one thing I don't really like about this take on the Silver Bullet, but I'm really curious to see how we perform. I know every YouTubers have now made their own version of it, so today we'll test out the Casper version. And I'll give you at the end tips on how to make it even better if you like the strategy and want to focus and journal it seriously. So you can watch this video first, but the rules are very simple for this strategy. We need to come on screen at 10 AM. We're going to stay on the 5-minute time frame the entire time, so it's very easy to apply. We'll wait for a fair value gap to form at that point. And the one thing which I personally don't really like is that we won't necessarily wait for a break of structure, so I can't wait to see the results about that, but that's very special here. Then, the stop loss will need to cover the first candle of the fair value gap, and I'll explain in the examples coming, so don't worry. And we'll always go for a 1 to 2, so very low hanging fruit take profit. So let's start. By the way, if you think I'm providing enough value and you would like more of those videos, just leave a like. I really appreciate it. On Nasdaq, you can see here that we start at 10 AM. So we just need to wait now for a fair value gap. So we can see here the fair value gap. We can just mark it, and then we can just put the order at that point at the entry. And as I said, we need to cover the first candle of the formation of the fair value gap. And since this is a 3-candle formation, this one, and this one, we need to cover the first candle of it, which is this one right there. And we'll come into other examples where we might need to adapt the stop loss, but that's pretty much it. Then we can just set the order. A 1% on a 100,000, which is 1,000. Let's see. Okay. So we're starting with a stop loss. Can't wait to see how the rest of the backtesting goes. Alright, so nothing too interesting after that. So very whipsaw here. I think we didn't have much chance right there. Let's now go directly to the next New York session. Alright, so this is the 10 AM. Let's now wait for a fair value gap. So I have one right there. Entry at the open, stop loss covering this low, and a 2 to 1. Nice execution, and our first take profit. So very quickly we covered the first loss. Once again the next day. So there's a small fair value gap right there, hopefully we can get a feel. But you can see how easy this strategy is. So especially for beginners, you can start with that. And then at the end, as I explained, I'm going to cover some things you can add to this one to make it much more mechanical and then gather better quality data. Alright, so we can now set the order. This one's a loss. Let's just see how the rest of the day goes. Okay. Next day. So there are also some things that you need to keep in mind, and we'll cover them as the examples are coming. Hopefully we can get some good examples. So a good fair value gap right there with a little open gap in here. Just put the order, cover the first candle with a 1 to 2. Sadly, we just got missed in here. So as you saw, this is a good example to cover because in this case specifically, we had the first fair value gap above and then another one right below. So as you can see, we covered the first one, but we didn't cover the higher one. So I don't know in his case what would Casper do, but me personally I always use the upper one because usually we can get a feel of the one upper, but sometimes, just as in this example, we get missed. So that's pretty sad, but you can adjust the strategy as you go. So I love about FX replay that we can backtest that quickly. You see, we already made 1 week, so you can gather data much more quickly that way. We have the fair value gap. With a 1 to 2. Alright, so we're back to minus 1%. So this is the new fair value gap that got formed. And you can see that I'm not waiting for a break of structure. So I'm really following what Casper is showing in his video. And you can go back to his video if you want to watch it. But I'm just following the planning here. We're just backtesting what the people on YouTube are teaching. Another stop loss. So we got a new fair value gap that got formed right there, but this one's strange. I don't know if we should take this one and then cover the stop loss in here, but this is my understanding of it, so let's just do it. We're already seeing a nice push up. Let's just see how this one goes. Yeah, it went back down. Alright, so a fair value gap right there. And then we go for a 2 to 1. So we got the execution. Nice reaction to it. Let's see if we reach for the take profit. And yes, we got it. So now we're back at plus 1%. So we're kind of going around the break-even point. So let's just backtest some more to make sure it is either profitable or non-profitable. And if it's not profitable, I'll show you some things that could work out, because the Silver Bullet is clearly working, but it might not be as simple as just following the 5-minute or not waiting for break of structure. So I'll add some things that you can study to make it better. While I was talking, I just missed this trade. I hope we can get it back. So hopefully I can get a comeback to the entry. See when I'm not focused and I'm talking at the same time. Let me put the order. Oh my god. Okay, well, you need to remember that this one was a win. So we're supposed to be at plus 3%. But let's just say I was going to the washroom that day. I was not paying too much attention. I had an emergency, which can happen, like you miss some trades. But I'm kind of salty for this one. There's this ridiculously small fair value gap. I don't know if we should be using it. But in his video, he used one example similar to this one, so I guess we'll just use it. Nice execution, and then a plus 2. See how fast I'm going to the backtest? There are no excuses to not backtest. If you can get a software like this one, or even going back to TradingView and then going back in the past, you should be able to do it very, very quickly. So we got entered. Are we going to go for the take profit or?
Let's go.
And then a nice plus 2. So already plus 4% in around 2-3 weeks. So very impressive, to be honest. What ICT is teaching is very amazing. I wish I met him like in my journey much more sooner. It took me some time before I met him in my journey. So if you're here watching his videos, watching this one, you're very lucky. Alright, so fair value gap. Let's just do 1 month and then we'll see the results. Almost to the take profit. And then another +2. Plus 6% already. And we're not even done for the month. This is February 2023. So I tried to take something in a good quarter. So I took Q1. You could also test out Q3. I would not suggest trading during, as you know, December and January. So you need to be careful about those. But yeah, I just took this random month. And of course, after, I'm not going to do the entire year or even multiple years, but if you decide to take this strategy seriously, I would suggest backtesting at least 6 months. And then, as you know, this is something we've been saying in data science and machine learning. The more data you have, the better, always. So you can see here a big fair value gap that was formed during 10 a.m. However, what I don't like in this one is that we have a fair value gap in here and another one right there. But I'm just following the rules, right? And then I'm covering the stop loss in here. And then I went with a 1 to 2. So nice comeback to the fair value gap. And then a stop loss. I guess for my defense on this one, I guess I should have canceled my order because we went pretty far. We went pretty close to the take profit, but I didn't hear anything about that in his video, so I'm just following. But I'll come back to those cases and then I'll give you some tips on how to manage those kind of trades. Almost at the end of the month. Let's see. Big fair value gap right there. We don't make it too complicated. We just put the entry. I 1 to 2. Alright, so clear example. This one got filled. You know, another example of where the lower one got filled. See? And then since we reached take profit, I'm going to remove the order. Yeah, this one's kind of sad. But let's just continue. Almost at the end of the month. No fair value gap for now. I would not consider this being a fair value gap. And there's a fair value gap right there, but you see the time, it's 11:30 and it didn't go over specific times to stop trading. But as we saw, most of the time we see a fair value gap being formed at around 10. So I'm just going to skip on this one. Yeah. Anyway, the execution would be inside the lunchtime, so we don't do that. Nice fair value gap. We put the entry right there. So this one's a loss. So almost at the end of the month, let's see if we can get some other good trades in here. Fair value gap. We put the entry. We cover the low. Another stop loss. So we're starting March, but this is Wednesday, so we'll just finish the week. Nice fair value gap. So what I'm seeing here, we took out this high, took out some liquidity, had a big displacement, took out the breakout structure in here. Let's see if we have a good trade. Nice comeback. I almost went to the take profit, but we got missed out right there. Let's see if we eventually go for it. So that's another example. Personally, what I do is if I have a trade running and we get around 4 p.m., I'm going to close the trade because a lot of things can happen when we have the switchover, when the markets are closing around 5. So I'm going to close this trade, but just for the sake of this backtest, let's just let it run and see how it goes. And then eventually take profit. So very interesting setup in here. But even if we had to close at around 4 p.m., which was around here, we would be at around 1.5% or 1%. So nice trade. This was Wednesday. Let's just go for the 2 last days and then we'll go over what we can do to improve. Very small fair value gap here. Let's see how this one goes. Nice first reaction. And then I take profit, so very nice. We're at +7. And then the last day, let's see. All right, clean fair value gap. And then straight stop loss. Alright, not bad at all. So if we add the trade that I forgot to enter, you saw at the beginning, this would give us a +8% in 1 month, which is very, very good to be honest. Let's just now go over what I would do to improve this strategy. So the first thing I would study deeply is what would happen if I would include a break of structure at each trade that we took. So for example, in this one, you can see that to have a break of structure, we will need to break this low, right? With the displacement, and this didn't happen. And maybe this is what we got a loss in this case. But let's see the trade that we had before. See, because we took out this high and this high during this displacement, this is maybe the reason why we got a good trade in this one. So this would be the first thing I would study, adding a break of structure, and be very strict with it. Second thing, as you saw in my channel many times, I would measure the displacement. The reason why I would measure a displacement, for example in this case, taking the level from this point to this point, this helps me determine if this is an important displacement or not. And as a rule of thumb, what I found out in my own data by studying more than 500 trades is if you get a displacement of more than 600, which was the case in here, but it was a loss, so it's not a bulletproof founding that we got, it increases the likelihood of having a good trade. So that would be the second thing I would check out. The third thing I would study is the TP. You can see here, this is not the most efficient way of taking profit. This is good. Most of the time you can get multiple 1-2s, 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 and it's a quick way to get some good profit. But if you want to refine this strategy, I would study the development of the take profit. You know, for example, in here, we went way more than 2%, right? So what I would do is for each trade, I would see how far we went. In this case, we eventually went for a 1-5, and I would write that in my journal. In this case in here, we went eventually for a 1-3. I would study that because this is a lot of profit left, right? So if I see that most of my trades are eventually going for a 1-3, well, I would just set my take profit at 1-3. Or I would study, what if I put my take profit at a 1 to 2.5 every time? What would be the effect on my results? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this is actually an Excel sheet I'm giving to all of the members when they enter the mentorship. If you focus right there on the development, this is, for example, one trade. When we get to the entry, we're at 0. This trade eventually went for 8.5% in profit and then went back to -1. So this is within 1 trading day, right? Before 4. So what I would do is I would put that if I would put my take profit at a 2%, this would hit take profit, this would hit take profit, 2% also. But if I was going to put my take profit at a 10%, it would end up at a loss, right? I would get missed by a little bit and then come back to a loss. And then you can just do that for all of the different take profits. And then in here, I also wrote what would be the win rate and what would be the return. Then once you have your win rate and your return, you'll have to compromise on it. You can either try to go with a high win rate, which by going with a take profit of 2%, it's very easy to hit. So it has a higher win rate, right? But the return might be lower than someone going for a 5% with a win rate of 60%. So those are questions you need to ask yourself. And the last thing I would study in my journal to make this strategy even better is a 12 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. open. And if you want more details on this, I already covered that in my last video, which is right there, so check it out. See you next time.